You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 675.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded the week of August 25th, 2025. In today's episode, pilots struggle to fly their plane just after takeoff.
Tower 2 Tango Delta, declaring emergency. We've got a control problem.
And the TSA bans butane-powered curling irons and hair straighteners from checked luggage. Also ahead, more news and your feedback. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and lock positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 675 is ready for pushback.
Well, thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the number one all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City.
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, former U.S. Air Force pilot and retired Delta Airlines captain. And joining me from his studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire,
retired professional dog photographer, former RAF RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Transatlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff. Hey, look, there's only you and me and Liz. Isn't that great? Look, APG 675. I had a quick hunt around and I discovered that 675 was part of the registration of a Bell X-2 X-plane. Now, do you remember the Bell X-1? That was the first aircraft to go supersonic with old Chuck Yeager at the controls. Well, the X-2 was an improved version with, as you can see from the picture, their swept wings. And it was undergoing just a captive carry test. So they had it in the mothership and they were just flying around testing systems and how they were going to refuel it and drop it and all that kind of stuff. Mainly they were looking at the LOX system, the liquid oxygen system on board the mothership, which was a super fortress when, tragically, an explosion occurred over Lake Ontario. In the explosion, the test pilot, Skip Ziegler, and one of the B-50 crew members, Frank Walco, were killed. The X-2 fell from the mothership into the lake along with the bodies of both men, and they were never recovered. The Super Fortress, however, managed to land safely, but was so badly damaged it never flew again.
Wow. Well, thanks for that uplifting little bit of information at the beginning of our show. Great to set the tone.
Well, it was 1953, so you should have got over it by now.
Okay, it's not too soon anymore.
I was born then, but you guys weren't. Yeah.
No, I wasn't. Yeah. All right. Well, very good. Thank you very much for that, Captain Nick. And also joining us from our studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier, an aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer. It's the lovely, venerable Liz Piper.
Hi, guys. Yes, I live on the shores of Lake Ontario, but I have never found a body or anything.
Did you see it? Did you see it come down then?
Well, I was 2 years old, so I may have, but I really don't remember. So
okay.
I can't lie and say I did. So
fair enough.
I don't know. Anyway, good to see you guys, and have as good a show as you can. That's all.
Thanks. Wow.
Yay.
All right.
Bye.
Way to set the tone.
Cheers.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, great. Let's, Captain Nick, what do you think we do some aviation news?
Oh, just for a change. Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
stand by for news.
All right, we're going to start with this. We're going to have a really tight, short, whatever. Oh, shoot, I forgot to turn off
slimmed down. Slimmed down.
Yeah, slimmed down. I need to adjust my camera software here. It is now thinking that I'm giving it some sort of gesture, which I just love.
You shouldn't be rude to your camera. That's what
I know
it
it's
is.
not that. It wasn't a rude gesture.
Back.
It was just. I like to. I must have some Italian in me, and I like using my hands. And I noticed my camera light started to flash, and I went, "Oh,
You're from
no.
southern Denmark."
Southern Denmark, yeah, the Italian part of Denmark. Okay, I just turned off the whatever you call that
thing.
Gestures. Thank you. All right. Back to this. All right, let's start with this. And I didn't mention before, but now I will. We're going to try to make this a nice, short, tight news. What did you call it, Liz? A brief?
Slimmed down news segment.
Slimmed it down. Ooh, yeah. Slimmed down news segment so that we can cover more feedback, because we discovered all the feedback that you had been sending us that we didn't know
and we love
was
having
there.
but
We love it. Yeah.
hidden.
So, all right. So let's go and start with this in the news segment. And this is an EVA Air Boeing 777 caught by Typhoon Podul, Podul, during landing in Taipei. And I am going to play a little video for us here so we can watch this wonderful landing. Wow. Should we look at that one more time?
Oh, yeah, with emphasis. Look with emphasis on the engine reversers. You know, the black strip you can see.
Okay. With that in mind, let's replay it. Okay, a little touch, and then the reversers are out. Still in the air, though. Ooh. And
now they're in. And now they're out again.
All I can say about that landing is... Yeah. Yeehaw. Wow.
Yeah, you know.
Right on, cowboy.
Masha's got a good point here.
Boxes don't care. That's good. That is a good point,
Yeah.
Masha. Boxes don't care.
They
Now,
don't care.
the engineers probably will when they're doing their inspection for that hard landing and that landing. Did you see how much pressure and force was applied to the landing gear on that 777 is pretty dang beefy, and that took a licking, but it kept on ticking.
It certainly did. Yeah, the interesting bit was the fact that they managed to get the reversers out during that tiny touch they did on the first go, and I'm going, boy, you normally require a couple of confirmations from the aircraft to say you're safely on the ground before the reversers will deploy. Mainly as a prevention for getting the reversers to come out in flight. You know, the aircraft has to be certain that it's in the right phase of flight, i.e. on the damn ground, before it'll let you deploy the reversers, because a reverser deployment in flight can be tragically nasty. So I'm a bit amazed that the 777 let the reversers come out after that first touch and bounce. I'm only used to Airbus, so I'm used to Airbus logic, and I don't think that would have happened necessarily on the Airbuses that I flew. But they managed to get them out, which ensured that they stayed down.
Oh, yeah.
Because the airplane ain't going to do much. But sadly, it probably contributed a little bit towards the fairly heavy landing that they had. But they then put them away again.
Are you saying that...
decided...
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
That's all right.
Keep going with your thought.
I was saying they then put them in again. So at some point, they thought perhaps they were going to go around. because they went in, and I thought, oh, well, perhaps they're now going to go around. And then they went, no, we'll stay down. We found the runway fairly well now. Let's stay down.
Nice.
And they came out for
a nice
second
positive
time.
touchdown.
So,
are you saying that maybe it was a maladjusted OTDG switch on the damn ground switch?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I don't know exactly what the 777 uses for its weight on wheel switches or. Yeah.
Well, IHAL boxes, he is making the point of once reversers are selected, full stop landing must be made. I was going to make the same point, but he made it for me. Yeah, that's pretty much the determination. Once the reversers come out, you're basically stuck with
committed.
Thank you.
Because we've got a different aircraft to what I fly, but along with the reversers on the Airbus, out came the spoilers. So if you hadn't had the spoilers deployed up to that point, as soon as you get reversers out, the spoilers are going to come out as well, which is going to make it very hard for you to try and get airborne again.
Now, I didn't look. I don't remember looking at the wings. Did the spoilers come out here? Can I replay that again? Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Okay, reversers are out, but looks like the spoilers are still in.
Yeah. Oh, now they're out. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for all that background noise there. I guess I could have.
Well, I agree with everything they're saying, though.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. Very good. Okay.
IHAL Boxes has a couple of other interesting comments.
IHAL Boxes also says 777F, this 777 freighter, has a 200 hull and the 300 ER gear. Yeah, that's kind of the freighter version of the 777. I remember Miami Rick telling us about that. It's kind of maybe Frankenstein is a little bit harsh, but it's definitely a unique configuration. It has parts from different series of the 777, a very big wing, big gear, and other parts are the shorter.
What are you saying, Jeff? They just looked around the hangar and decided what they had left, and they built an airplane out of it. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I think so. Let's see. He also says, IHAL boxes from our audience. Main strut was compressed on the first contact, thus reversers can be selected. Okay. Yeah, and I would imagine, with the conditions there, again, this is a Typhoon, lots of wind. I don't have the actual METAR readout for how much wind was there, but it was pretty high winds there. I'm sure that, once they touched down for that first touch, they thought, we need to get. But on the other hand, there was probably a lot of wind going down the pipe, in your face, going down the runway there. So as far as the airplane was concerned, that's a very, very, very long runway. A lot to play with there to try to get it on the ground.
And they did.
They did, for sure. But as Captain Nick mentioned, once the reversers were deployed, that airplane's going to drop pretty darn quickly and firmly. Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, that was fun.
I enjoyed that. Yes. Good job.
Thank you for your commentary. Let's continue on with another video. And let's see. I'm just going to hit play and see what happens. This is from Bass Aviation, real aviation communications from liveatc.net. Of course, our friends over there.
Tango Delta, I need you rolling, sir.
Okay, this is a BizJet, Cessna.
Roger. Tango Delta.
5.
Airport Golf Alpha, things are going to work. Fly north, enter the right base for runway 13.
Right, fly north, right base 13.
Don't like that. Don't want to do that. Not happy.
Airport Golf Alpha, runway 13, clear to land, wind 110 at 9, gust 14.
Clear to land 13, Golf Alpha.
I was hoping there would be a little thing here where we could talk about what's going on and what we're looking at. Let me pause for a moment and see if I can get some context to this. Usually they'll do that right at the beginning of the video. But this is a Cessna Citation 560XL at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. And that first transmission was the clearance from the tower for this flight to take off. And so now we're in the pattern at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, which is north of the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport.
So it's mainly biz jets, right, Jeff?
Mainly biz jets and GA
Okay,
at the
got it.
executive airport, yes.
Got it.
Okay, so let's continue.
Tower 2 Tango Delta, declaring emergency. We've got a control problem. I need to be vectored back around for landing. Number 2 Tango Delta, roger. Fly, turn left, join the left downwind for runway 9. Left downwind, runway 9. 802 Tango Delta. Maintain 2000, maintain 2000. Maintain 2000, crypto, or Tango, 8 Tango Delta.
This guy's struggling with the airplane.
Number 2 Tango Delta, do you have the airport in sight? Thanking. Tango Delta, I have the... Got it. Number 4 Delta Bravo, number 4 Delta Bravo, traffic ahead and to right is a Cherokee at 1,100. Do you have in sight? Negative, 4 Delta Bravo. Roger. Number 2 Tango Delta, Executive Tower, you on me? 4 Delta Bravo, fly northbound now. Fly northbound, 4 Delta Bravo. Number 6 Tango, 6 Mike Alpha, continue westbound, exit the Delta. Okay, exiting the Delta, continuing westbound, got him in sight. Number 2 Tango Delta, do you have the airport in sight? Number 4 Delta Bravo, fly westbound now. Westbound, 4 Delta Bravo. 4 Delta Bravo, actually fly northbound, please. Number 2 Tango Delta, executive tower. Tower, can I go over to FLL, please? Semi.
Wow.
Number 2 Tango Delta, can you contact Miami on 119.7? Tower, we're fighting the plane the best we can. 2 Tango Delta, Miami wants to talk to you, 119.7, they can help you out.
I don't think he can do that.
Executive Tower, good afternoon, it's Sovereign 99 Echo Foxtrot, we're at... Tango Delta, can you hear the transfer? Number 6 Mike Alpha, make a left 180, fly westbound, please. Fly eastbound. Your left 180 eastbound, 6 Mike Alpha. Number 99 Echo Foxtrot, Executive Tower, runway 9, continue. Continuing 9 Echo Fox, park at Banyan. Number 4 Delta Bravo, traffic ahead and to your left in 3 miles to the citation at 2,000 feet, reporting side. I'll look for that traffic, 4 Delta Bravo. Tower, I'm coming in. We're trying to come in at FL. Continue. Follow that traffic, runway 9, continue, 4 Delta Bravo.
Jeff was 40, I'm in the altitude, maintain 5,000. There's traffic, there's emergency inbound that we're not talking to for citation descending, so maintain 5,000 and fly heading at 290. Okay, 290 heading 5,000, Jeff was 40.
Tower, I'm trying to get into Lauderdale, 10 left.
It's International Airport.
Roger.
Alpha 3398, cancel approach clearance, maintain 5,000 and just 120 track that heading inbound. There's an emergency citation inbound that we're not talking to. I'll keep you advised. Maintain 5,000, track that heading inbound for 10 left, please.
Several different radio or controlling agencies here involved, different frequencies. It's just a mess. They're trying to clear away all the traffic and manage the traffic at these individual airports. And now the folks at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, the big air carrier airport, see that this jet that's struggling is coming down towards them. So they're trying to work out what's happening. Excuse me?
How close are those two airports, Jeff?
Those two airports, Liz, are only just a few miles apart. I'm not sure exactly how far, but pretty darn close.
Very close. Okay.
All right, let's continue.
Southwest 3398, disregard that traffic in the south parallel, so you're still clear for the approach 10 left. JetBlue 40, and are you on the RNAV?
No, you told us 290 heading.
Southwest 3398, and just stay with me, I'm sorry, maintain, just going to maintain 4,000, and looks like they broke your citation back out, the emergency inbound. I'm not sure if they're going to the north or the south, just stay with me for a second. JetBlue 40, are you on the RNAV?
Alright, that's negative. You assigned us 2980 heading.
JetBlue 40, flight heading is 270.
Okay, 270 now, JetBlue 40. Number 2 Tango Delta, runway 10 left, you're clear to land.
Whoever's listening here, this is 82 Tango Delta. We're trying to get into 10 left at Lauderdale.
Okay, 802 Tango Delta, I can hear you. I can hear you, I can. Can you react control?
Now it says Miami G. I'm assuming that might be guard frequency. I'm not sure, but that's looks like the big regional control center that we just heard a transmission from.
I'm flying this thing pretty seriously. It just came out of some maintenance. There's something misrigged on the controls.
Number 2 Tango Delta, I got you out. Your radar contact 6 miles south of the track. Flight heading goes 310. Do you think you can do a 310 heading?
Really like to make the turn inbound and try to get it on the ground right now.
There's a Southwest plane on a 7-mile final. Southwest plane on a 7-mile final for 10 left.
Yeah, well, break them out because they're not having an emergency, and they
this is
have
the worst. This is the worst bit. Just this one event, actually, Mars, what would have been a very well handled
right, like
emergency.
We need to give you some delay vectors because we have regular traffic coming into Fort Lauderdale 10 left. Yeah, what?
Number 2 Tango Delta, you saw me?
That's actually up at Executive Tower. Now this jet is down closer to the international airport.
Number 802 Tango Delta Tower.
He's a little busy, I think.
All right, I got him inside off the nose. It looks like he's on the down one for 10. Yeah, it looks like it. Number 2 Tango Delta, do you have the southwestern side? It's 11 o'clock and 5 miles.
Break southwest out.
Number 2 Tango Delta, are you able to fly a 310 heading?
2 Tango Delta, I've got some control back of it for now, but I definitely want to get her on the ground as quick as possible.
Okay, Number 2 Tango Delta, you can turn left. Do you have the field in sight?
If I make the turn, I'll have her.
Number 2 Tango Delta, turn left-hand turn heading 220.
Heading 220, 2 Tango Delta.
Southwest 3398, I believe the citation is going to be landing the north parallel, so just stay with me. We might have to change it to south parallel. I don't know the nature of the emergency, so go ahead and descend to 3,000 for now, and just stay with me on the final here.
3,000 will stay with you on the final,
Southwest 3398, go ahead and maintain 3,000. I'm going to box you back around to the right side. That citation is in front of you and turning inbound.
Okay, we'll level 3,000, Southwest 3398. Number 6 Mike Alpha, we're still trying to figure out what he's going to do. Fly eastbound towards the short lane, please. They're making a 180 towards the east, 406 Mike Alpha. Number 2 Tango Delta, field inside 10 o'clock and about 8 miles.
Field's inside 2 Tango Delta.
Tango Delta, your quick visual approach 10 left.
Cleared visual 10 left, thank you guys.
Southwest 3398, and go ahead and once you're level, are you level at 3,000?
Level 32, coming up on 3, yes.
Southwest 3398, turn left heading at 360.
I'm heading 360, Southwest 3398.
Southwest 3398, you can expect 10 right. It's going to box you back around.
Number 2 Tango Delta, you can contact Fort Lauderdale Tower on 119.3, 19.3.
19.3, 2 Tango Delta, thank you.
Okay, sounds like he has control.
2761, 2000.
That was 2761. Roger, I'm going to turn you to the right. That was...
Okay. You know if that airplane made it down okay? We do not.
That was an exchange happening up at Executive Airport, which is to the north. There's some video that we're seeing here of the BizJet touching down, the Citation 560XL touching down.
And it appears he landed.
At Lauderdale International.
It looks like they made it down okay. Yeah, that's what it appears.
Okay. Aircraft landed safely. Both airports resumed operations normally. Oh, wow. Talking about intense there, listening to him struggling on the controls. And normally you don't get to hear that unless you have a cockpit voice recorder. But since he was trying to manhandle the control yoke with the microphone push-to-talk button on it, he accidentally was transmitting a lot of, what was happening in that cockpit and his exertion on the controls and trying to keep, the wings level and keep the blue sky up and, the old saying. It was a little crazy. Gina in our live audience, thank you, Gina, says that the distance from Executive to Fort Lauderdale International is 13.4 miles. Yeah, I was thinking it was about 10 to 15 miles. Wasn't sure exactly. So it was pretty close. So you have the situation where he's out of control. You can hear that bank angle warning in the background. Wow, that gets your attention. I think that means the airplane is kind of going really wonky on you, and you could hear him with a lot of sounds of exertion. And then the poor controllers, they're dealing with the situation like just thrown at them. Like, what is this guy doing? Where is he going? And they're having to try to guess what's happening here. They're not sure if somebody's controlling the jet, or as far as air traffic control, if somebody is giving them directions and control, or if they're just out there on their own trying to get the thing on the ground. And so I have to give them a break when it comes to, the appearance that at Fort Lauderdale International, that they're just trying to sequence in this citation with the regular flow of traffic. You have a very busy commercial airport, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, with parallel runways and just a constant stream of inbound traffic for landing. And what do you do with all these people? What do you do with all these flights going all over the place? And the wild card of not knowing what this Citation jet is doing out there.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. I tell you what, first time I heard this, it really made me shudder to listen to this pilot, because that's the kind of thing that, if ever you listened to the voice recorder of an aircraft that is having an accident, that's the sort of thing you hear as everyone on board struggles to try and keep the thing flying. And my heart went out to this poor damn pilot who's barely got airborne, and no, he's absolutely fighting for his life. And I understand the controllers are doing their best, but giving him frequencies and to switch to, he's got to speak to someone who's going to be able to find out what his intentions are and give him some sort of clearance further down the route. But you can tell that he was in no position to change a radio frequency, although I don't know which frequency he finally ended up on. I think he was probably on Fort Lauderdale Tower, that airfield.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So, when things calmed down a bit, and he obviously freed whatever restriction it was, or it just let go, and he seemed to be able to control it better. I'm intrigued to know what the analysis of the mechanical issue on the aircraft was, because it sounded like he was really struggling to move the controls. The amount of effort he appeared to be putting in, I've no idea what might have be causing that. But he gave us a clue to say it had just come out of maintenance, and we all know that that first trip or first few trips out of maintenance were all a little bit on edge, because we know bits will have been taken apart and put back together again. Get your fingers crossed that it all has gone smoothly in the hangar. And we don't know what had occurred, and I'd love to find out if anyone has any inside knowledge. I'd love to.
I do have, I think, some audio recording of the maintenance hangar over there at Executive. Hey, Joe, what did you do with that wrench? that wrench, yeah, it's not here anymore. You were working on that Citation the other day. Yeah. Obviously, that was not real recording. That was just me. But definitely some kind of control restriction, like maybe a jammed cable or cables or something restricting the normal movement of the flight controls. I'm assuming that jet, it's a little bit older jet, so I'm assuming that they probably have more traditional kind of controls as far as moving the control surfaces and that kind of thing. Could be wrong, but I don't think it's like a fly-by-wire kind of a setup on that jet. But you're right, Captain Nick. I would really love to be able to know, or find out what happened there. I'm not sure if we're ever going to hear that or not. I guess I should have looked it up on the Aviation Safety Network. They usually are pretty good at.
Let me see if I can find anything.
Yeah, Liz is going to go ahead and see.
I had to search around to see if there was any more that I could find on the internet, and I couldn't. Mm-hmm. It was really.
Yeah, I did a search as well a couple of days ago, and I couldn't find anything on it either.
Maybe Blanco Lirio will have something.
Yeah, maybe Blanco Lirio YouTube channel will be able to dig something up and inform us.
Looking.
Okay, so. What else to say there? I mean, good job.
Well done to him for getting it on the ground safely. And if I personally think sensible decision going to the international airport with a much bigger runway gave him a lot more leeway for his landing, because if he was having control problems, he wouldn't necessarily be able to put it down on the numbers. And of course, their fire cover is so much better at these airports. Their fire and rescue. Is going to be, really top notch. So, I think that was a good decision. It's just that he was struggling to, get in touch with the airport, and that I don't think the controllers there necessarily understood exactly what was happening. They wouldn't, of course. They had no idea from the preamble that the guys at the executive airport had heard.
Do we have a date on this thing at all, Jeff?
The date, Liz, on that, I don't know.
Because I don't see anything on this Cessna of that model in the safety network thing.
Okay. Yeah, so I did a quick search the other day as well, and I couldn't find anything on it either. Maybe somebody out there in the audience knows something about this and can send us some feedback.
Florida.
Let us know. Somebody down there in Fort Lauderdale. Okay. I think
but
now
not least,
we should continue with our last news item from sfgate.com. And let's see, new rules from the Transportation Security Administration here in the United States should have flyers thinking twice about what to pack in their beauty bag. I always wonder about what to pack in my beauty bag. On August 20, the TSA announced on social media recent changes to what items with heating elements flyers can take in their luggage to the airport. The items have been flagged by the FAA for having potentially hazardous materials, according to a report from The Street, another resource, thestreet.com. Cordless curling irons, cordless flat irons, and cordless hair straighteners with lithium-ion batteries, lithium metal or gas, or butane fuel have been banned from checked luggage, but can be packed in carry-on bags. If a traveler wants to pack their hot tools in their carry-on bag, they must have a safety cover to prevent them from turning on. Spare gas cartridges are banned from traveling. Yeah, that seems sensible. Any cordless, I'm wondering how many people out there really know what kind of technology is being implemented in these devices. That's making a big assumption, I think. Anyway, any cordless curling irons containing gas cartridges, butane, discovered in a checked bag will be removed and turned over to the airline as a hazmat item, the TSA said on social media. Hot tools that plug into the wall, however, are still able to be packed in checked luggage. Several brands like Tymo and Conair sell a cordless model. Bottom line, if these items can catch fire in the cargo area where checked bags are transported, there's no one there to put it out. What? They don't have people down there watching over all this stuff in the cargo bin? Huh. That's why they're only allowed in carry-on bags. The spokesperson for Florida's TSA told the Florida Times Union. Yeah, that was a brilliant statement. And we obviously know that, but you would think that would be obvious to everyone, but apparently not. But again, I can see their reasoning or rationale here. If it's something that plugs in, it's likely not going to be something that can turn on its own. But if it's a cordless model, then of course they're designed to be able to be, self-contained or self-powering, and that could be definitely an issue in your bag in the cargo compartment.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done it before, quite honestly. But perhaps they assumed that the prohibited item list would cover these, but obviously they're having to make them a specific item because it's not, the message perhaps isn't getting through. Wasn't there a movie, Con Air, about transporting prisoners?
It's a different
around?
Con Air. Yeah.
A different Con Air. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought that was quite amusing.
Actually, I have a hairdryer that's a Con Air hairdryer. You want me to go get it and show it to you? No.
No.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
All right.
But I can see why you'd need a cordless flat iron to keep your uniform sorted out and hair straighteners because, you don't get a nice hairdo like yours, easily.
Yeah.
So
that's you notice that I'm wearing a ball cap right now to cover up my coiffed
bed
hair.
head.
Your bed hair.
Yeah, definitely
exactly
bed head right now because, well, long story short, I wasn't quite ready for today's recording of the show. It was a last minute kind of thing because I miscalculated the recording time. Not miscalculated. I
misunderstood.
I misunderstood what time we were actually going to be doing the show today. So anyway.
You made a mistake.
I did make a mistake.
All right, let's get to know you guys.
All right, let's get to know us. Getting to know us. That segment where we find out what's been happening with the hosts on the show at present between right now and when we recorded last. And I can tell, I'll go first. Really not a lot for me. Did my standard singing at the church, and let's see what else.
You did go up to the campground for a night.
I did go. Oh, that's right. I did. So I had to do a little bit of maintenance to the holding tanks on my RVS, the Road Vessel Studio, an RV, a motor coach that I have. So I went up to one of our local lakes in the area, Allatoona, up into the northwest of where I'm located here in Roswell. And that was kind of fun. It's been a while since I've camped overnight, but I got that maintenance taken care of, and the weather was very nice, a little bit cooler temperatures and drier air, so it was very, very pleasant. And the other thing, yesterday there was a funeral that I sang in, and luckily there were several other choir members that came to all of our aid to help with singing, because the funeral was for a very young person, a 3-year-old little girl. Gracie was her name, or is her name, and anyway, I knew, and Jane, our choir director, knew that it was going to be a difficult one to sing at, and so it was nice to be singing with another 3 male voices. So that was yesterday. There was something else. Oh, I had the opportunity to be interviewed by Bob Judson. I don't know if he's here with us today in the live chat or not, but he has interviewed several people in aviation and leadership roles, including our wonderful Captain Nick Anderson, and in fact, those 2 of them together got together and interviewed the gentleman. Trying to think of Colin
Bell.
Bell, that's right, Colin Bell, and
Mosquito pilot extraordinaire.
Yes, it was very, very interesting. It was a very interesting interview that you two conducted. Anyway, he reached out to me and said, because he's a listener to the APG, and he is very frequently with us in our live audience when we're recording. And he reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in me, being on my show, Leading for Life, leading numeral 4 and then life?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to. I'm not going to be as exciting a interviewee as Captain Nick." Because I just, have a pretty boring aviation background compared to his. But he said, "Yeah, well, we'll try to make it as interesting as possible." So I had a great conversation. And I did warn him, and I've warned many people who have interviewed me, that once I get going and once I start talking, it's really, really hard to shut me up.
There's no stopping you.
There's no stopping Captain Jeff. And sure enough, we didn't get to all the questions that he had hoped to ask me, and he said, "I think we might have to do a part 2." And I said, "Yeah, I told you. I warned you."
Did Bob have to put on his thrust reversers?
Yeah, Bob had to put the thrust reversers on for sure. Anyway, so we had a great time. It was just, nice. two people, good friends, talking about our careers and leadership and all that jazz. So that was fun.
A couple of comments from iHall Boxes.
iHall Boxes says Jeff got called out of standby for the show. Yeah, I was on reserve, but probably not as ready to go as I could have been.
And you just need to correct this impression of what you did up at the lake.
Oh, iHall Boxes says, okay, yeah. He says, also known as emptied the tanks in the lake. No, I did not empty the tanks in the lake. I do not do that's illegal, sir. And it's bad for the environment, especially the stuff that's in my tanks. Anyway, no, I specifically went to this state park. It's a Georgia state park, Red Top Mountain up in at Lakeland, Alatoona, and I specifically secured a site that had a sewer connection, so that I could really thoroughly backflush the whole thing and get it all nice and squeaky clean. Well, I wouldn't say. Actually, that's
what about the RV
really
though?
Yeah, the RV too. Actually,
Did you want to mention that nice communication you had from Dana this week?
Oh yeah, I could do that. I received some great communication from Captain Dana, and he sent me a nice little note on messages. He said, "Learned something from you that to this day I honor. Just thought you'd like to see this." He says, "Too many comments to send, but this was the best one." Okay, so he sent me a couple of screenshots. Well, apparently at Acme Airlines, they have something from Flight Ops Communications called Focus on Impactful Behaviors. Greet me, recognize me, inform me, and be kind to me for a chance to earn this recognition. Well, anyway, it looks like they're calling out some impactful behaviors from crew members. And at the top of the list here, under the Diamond PA, I'm assuming that's for public address. Captain Dana Colton, based in ATL, Atlanta, Georgia, is at the top of this long list of folks in this communications. Hope it's okay that I'm sharing that with you. And then on another site, apparently, it says, let's see, Acme is always my first choice. I love the consistency and overall comfort of the flights. Today's pilot, which is referring to Captain Dana, brought some humor to his announcements, which brought more personality and some fun to the flight. I would like to see some of this authenticity come through in future flights also. He wasn't cheesy like Southwest, but just a real person, not as uptight and overly professional. He struck the right balance. Being authentic is best for the entire crew. So I applaud Captain Dana for getting those. And that was just one of many very positive comments sent Dana regarding his the way he presents himself to the public and makes people feel at ease, etc. And I told him that was nice of him to say that he had learned this from me, and he said, "Learn from the best, you." So, wow, that was very, very touching. Thank you, Dana, for sending that in, and it's always good to hear from you. And
just before you move on to the Sydney stuff, Tim is talking about what you did up at the campground here.
Oh, okay. Tim, back to the campground. Just a couple of days ago, Tim Van Ram says, wrestling the Stinky Slinky. Yeah, luckily my Stinky Slinky, Tim, is a very narrow diameter. I've just made up a new word, I think. Diameter hose. It's because I have a macerator system, a macerator pump. So it's not quite, I mean, there's still some stinky stuff that goes through it, I guess, but it's not as hard to manage as like the bigger diameter normal stinky slinkies. That's the hose that we use to connect the holding tanks to the sewer inlets. It's probably best that we just move on because this is starting to get really, this whole thing is starting crappy. It really stinks. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's what I have been up to in the last few days. And Captain Nick, how have you been, sir? Oh, no, wait. Nope. Hang on.
You have Grant McCarran and Steffi to talk about in your Getting to Know Us.
Oh, I do. Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you. It's a good thing I have a producer to kind of keep me on track here. Getting to Know Us. Maybe I should just pull up that little note there. That would help, huh?
Yeah, that would be good.
Now I'm looking at this. I'm hoping that's going to play. I have not tried it.
I listened to it. It sounded good.
Okay. So we received, you notice that Dr. Steph isn't here with us today, and it's not because of lack of interest. It's because she is not in the United States at the moment. And where is she? Well, I think maybe this audio feedback might give us a clue.
Hey, Dr. Steph here. We are in Sydney, Australia, and I'm here for the marathon this weekend, but got here plenty early, time to do some things and see some things, and this kind gentleman came up all the way from Melbourne to hang out for the afternoon and grab some food and a drink and say hello. So good to see you, Grant.
Thanks. Yeah, speaking of things to see, thing number one right here. And if Steph's making it all the way to Australia, I can't not come up from Melbourne. Jump on a plane, fly up. It is one of the busiest air routes in the world, one of the top 5 between Melbourne and Sydney. So here I am to say hi and have lunch.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Grant found us a nice spot, a bit of Malaysian fare, which we don't have much of back home. So nice to sample something different and quality food. It was excellent. More food than I could ever possibly eat in one sitting, but I think that's the way they designed it. So glad to not disappoint them by finishing my plate. And we had my family here as well. They're a little microphone shy, so they're not going to join us on this, but nice to be here with my family and one of my best friends, and obviously see Grant for the day.
Yeah, it's been great. We hung out and then we came for the lunch, and lunch was fun, and then we didn't get a food coma. We staggered over to a local craft brewery place to sample a couple of beers.
Yeah, beers were wonderful. Nice. I think it was a local red IPA of some type. So had a bit of that, and we're going to part ways here shortly because unfortunately Grant does have to go back home, which we'll allow it, I suppose.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Very, very kind of me. And then, get a couple days of rest. It's going to be busy over the next couple of days for myself and my brothers who are running the marathon as well. We're going to head to the expo tomorrow, pick up all of our kit, our bibs and whatnot, and do some marathon-related things, and hopefully rest up and get off of our feet because we've done quite a bit of walking already, and be good to go for the weekend.
Yeah, she said she was doing a nice, quiet little 6-mile run this morning. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty intense. So it was enough fun to wake up early and get to the airport.
I heard it was a hilly course. They were not kidding about the hills here. There are a lot of hills. So between that and trying to figure out which direction traffic was coming from on the roundabouts, I I survived this morning, had a nice tour of Bondi Beach, and it was not a very strenuous run, we'll say that. It was just, get the legs moving around a little bit, blood flowing.
And in light of Captain Nick not being here, we won't make any further mentions of Bondi Trouts. But it's been great to come up and say hi to Steph. It's been a wonderful trip. Always good to catch up. And hopefully it won't be so many years before maybe I'm back at an Oshkosh and we all catch up again.
Right. I think it was 2019, so we're going on 6 years here. So we'll try to reduce that gap a little bit for sure. But it's been fantastic to see you, Grant. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. All the best, and look forward to the next time.
Thanks, you too. Run well. Mad, bloody marathon runners. But with that, I guess it's back to Jeff in the studio.
Back to you, Jeff.
All right. Thank you very much. Always good to hear from Grant and, of course, Dr. Steph.
Jeff, I'm just going to tell you what these photos are that I'm showing right now.
Okay.
This is Steph on Bondi Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next ones are she and a group of people climbed the Sydney Harbor Bridge at night. And then this is one of her breakfasts, and Captain Nick can comment on this.
Captain Nick, do you recognize the fare, the breakfast fare there on the plate?
No. Well, I recognize some components. I mean, she's got a very ordinary looking slice of toasted white bread, a passion fruit.
Kiwi, kiwi, I think, isn't it?
No, that's a passion
doesn't look like
fruit.
a kiwi.
Okay.
It's too red.
And a pack of Vegemite. Now, I don't exactly know how you're going to put that all on toast and enjoy it, but,
Now, Steph and I had a conversation, and she likes Vegemite, so...
Well, Vegemite is lovely. Vegemite is a bland version of our Marmite, which we have here in the UK, which... is usually made in most countries that have this from the yeast left over from beer manufacturing. So whenever you got a big brewer who's churning out lots of beer and lots of byproduct, you'll often have a Marmite factory attached so that they can turn it into Marmite, and it's a really lovely, yummy, lots of umami and very savoury thing to spread on your toast. And the Australians produce a version called Vegemite. They used to call it Par Will because the British version was Marmite, and they produced a version called Par Will, but that didn't sell very well. In the end, they called it Vegemite. But it's a little blander. It doesn't have quite the same spiciness. Anyway, that's that. So I didn't think that would go particularly well with passion fruit, but obviously Steph thinks otherwise. And she hasn't even buttered the toast, so I'm going, that is a weird breakfast. Sorry, Steph.
Well, maybe she snapped that pic before she had an opportunity to butter the toast. Or maybe she doesn't use butter because it's, I don't know, whatever.
Gina's in agreement with you there, Nick.
I was taught to butter the toast, then smear a small amount over the butter. Yeah. It's spread thin because, if you just slather it on, otherwise it's way too strong. But, it's and it can be a bit of an acquired taste. But since we tend to feed our kids in it from the moment they're first having solid food onwards, they've usually acquired it by the time they're old enough to make their own decisions.
All right, very good. Well, I'm glad to hear. Now, you said, she's already run the marathon? Or no, she's coming up this
Sunday.
She runs on Sunday.
Her start time is 4:30 tomorrow afternoon.
4:30 tomorrow afternoon.
So when you're singing at church, she'll be starting to run.
Ah, okay. Very good. And then she's coming back on Tuesday of next week?
She's coming home on Tuesday. So she'll leave on Tuesday and get home on Tuesday because of the dateline.
All right, very good. Well, I hope that, it seems like she's having a great time down there, and I hope that you have a great run, Steph. And we can't wait to hear all about it the next time you're on the show. All right.
Okay, over to Captain Nick.
All right, now we're shifting over to my cohort here, co-host Captain Nick. What have you been up to, sir?
Yeah, well, kind of busy week. We we've got a couple of dogs, and dogs are a big part of our lives. Well, about a year ago, the old one, Rugger, we were out on holiday in Cornwall, and he fell quite badly ill, and we cut our holiday short, having spent days of our holiday, instead of enjoying ourselves on the beach, dragging this poor dog off to various specialist vets and etc. Anyway, we got him home, and turned out he probably had a really bad food allergy. But by the by, this is a year on, and Rugger has fallen ill again. And we went, oh no, this is an annual occurrence now, it seems. Anyway, excuse me, the machine here is just telling me about someone coming to the house. I'll unplug that. And we, of course, took him into the vet. He really wasn't well. He was in pain, and he was panting a lot, and, just lying down all the time, not eating, not doing much. And eventually, after several days, the vet says, we think he's got an obstruction between his kidney and the bladder, one of his kidneys and the bladder. So we had him down at a specialist hospital, veterinary hospital, to undergo a procedure where they put a stent inside the tube that had the stone, which should allow, and they will remove the stone. And they were going to flush his kidneys and treat the infection that had built up on one of his kidneys. We got the message back saying, actually, we've done our own scans and x-rays, and we're not convinced that there's actually a blockage, although we've got our two chief radiologists and our chief veterinary surgeon. We're all having a little conference, and we can't come to a definite conclusion. But what would you like to do? We can go ahead with the operation, or we can sit on it and wait and see. And we said, well, they said, oh, by the way, he's perking up a bit, particularly after we have in fact flushed his kidneys, and we've taken a sample from his kidney, which we're going to culture to see if there's an infection or what the infection is in his kidney. Long story short, we decided to get him back home. He wasn't eating. They wanted to send him home with a tube in his throat so we could put food in this tube. We said, no, don't worry. He hates vets, so when we get him home, we'll probably be able to feed him. So fingers crossed, we picked him up, brought him home. He's on all sorts of antibiotics. Turns out, once he got home, he settled down a bit, he started eating, and we're very happy with him. His temperature had dropped considerably. He had a very high temperature, and he's much perkier. And whatever treatment they've given him with the antibiotics and the kidney flushing, etc., looks like it's been successful. They're going to still culture the samples they took and find a specific antibiotic that will attack whatever bug has got into his kidney. But on the moment, even on the general antibiotic that we're treating him with, and we're having to take him daily to the vet to have a special injection, he's responding well. And the old fella at the age of 12 is slowly bouncing back. He is eating. He's having all sorts of lovely treats. In fact, I think I'd rather eat his food than mine, quite honestly, because he's getting, he's getting hot dogs, Frankfurter sausages, he's getting chicken and rice and all sorts of lovely things, pate, and just the best of everything. Anyway, we love him dearly, and news is that, fingers crossed, he's over the hump, and that we will manage to get him sorted. Again, we won't actually go on holiday this year because the amount of money the vet bills have come to, I don't think we're going to be able to afford it now.
Oh, no. So basically the bottom line here is that he was faking it just for attention. Is that?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know quite how he gets his temperature up to over 40 degrees.
He's very clever.
Yeah, it must be some trick, perhaps he just holds his thumb and blows hard, I don't know. Anyway, I took a little diary of what happened was it yesterday or the day before? But basically, Jilly was up at 1:30 in the morning with him because he was distressed. So she brought him downstairs, and no, she slept on the sofa with him beside. I came down with them. Ran round the garden after him to try and collect a pee sample, which proved ridiculous, since one of the things he loves to do when he's distressed is go hide in the bushes, and very hard to grab a pee sample on a dog that keeps hiding in the bushes. Anyway, I decided to go back to bed until I got a low glucose alarm from my damn sensor. Anyway, we took him back to the vet at 8 o'clock in the morning. We then had all the builders. We've had builders in all this while because we're having one of our rooms gutted and replastered and redecorated. And that is, as well as having some air conditioning fitted. So those builders were still toing and froing, and we're trying to sort them out. I ended up walking Zeta and had another low blood sugar warning while I was walking, so I'm phoning Jilly going, I'm in the middle of a hypo. If I don't make it home, you'll know where I am. You can come and find me and sort me out. But no, I managed to stagger home. Anyway, Jilly takes Rugger to the vet for to drop him off. On the way home, she hits a rock in the road. We got a bit of a country road near us, and a rock had fallen out of a wall, dry stone wall, and was sitting in the road. She came around the corner, couldn't swerve to avoid it because it's a very narrow road, and another car was coming in. She wrecked her tyre. So now we've the only car that Rugger can ride in, and now has a flat. Anyway, it just I'm going, how can this day get any worse? Anyway,
never asked that question.
Behind us. It's all behind us now, and hopefully everything will be good. So an eventful week from the Anderson family.
Now it's turned around, which is great.
Well, we're hoping it continues to improve, and that we can put it to bed, not Rugger to bed. We can put this issue to bed. Yeah.
Very good. Well, how about your sports?
Not much going on. I played in the Village Petanque Singles Championship. Came probably fourth, but we had two groups, and whoever won the groups went into the final. So I was second in my group, so I didn't go forward. And I think I was probably fourth overall in the competition. So I was chuffed with that. That was good because I've only been playing this game for a few months, and it's quite different to anything else I've done. So,
but you were still able to drink some beer, though, right, at the pub?
Yeah. Generally, I've been trying to, and usually just to get to sleep.
Oh, but I'm talking about the petanque. I thought that was the whole point of getting out and throwing.
Indeed. That was over the weekend. It was, in fact, it was on the bank holiday Monday, and yes, I did get to have a few beers. But with all the driving we've been doing to get Rugger around, I've had to, be a bit abstemious. Just be a bit careful.
Let's look at your cover art.
Okay, yes, cover art.
Oh, cover art
for the last show.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a quick think about this. The last show we had. Some fine suggestions, like a premature ejaculation. Oh, ejection, sorry.
Thank you.
Yep. Getting hosed by an air pipe. Remember that one that went down the engine?
Got sucked.
Open
really
door
sucked.
policy. Pop goes the weasel. I don't know who the weasel was. Pilot left door open. But the one that I liked was all to do with the backseater in an F-15 who was up for a fun ride, who ejected on the taxiway when as they were coming back, and when I typed it into Google to get some suggestions, get some ideas, it seems that it is a very common thing that happens during baseball matches. You get ejected, and I'm a great fan of. Is it John? John Boy, the commentator. He analyzes baseball videos and other sports. Anyway, I watch him a lot on YouTube. And I got the idea for putting our passenger who has been ejected, being ejected by the referee, except I think that looks more like a American football referee than a baseball referee. I think they wear all black. But anyway, he's getting ejected. You're out of here, which is the common phrase.
You're out of here.
Yeah, exactly. And because, of course, he was in an F-15, he's got jet-powered boots. And a lot of military guys on the team there, which kind of weird.
over.
But some nice F-15s overhead to link it into that. So that's You're Out of Here. That was the show title. The umpire has the show number on his chest there. And the logo, where is the logo? There you go. If you didn't see it, it's on the top of the stand behind the players.
Oh, I see
there
it
you
in
go.
green.
It's in green underneath
Okay.
the searchlight. There it is.
Okay.
And much more fun. We've got a penguin in between everyone's legs.
There's the jackass penguin right there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the first base or
He's the bat
second
boy.
baseman.
He's the bat boy.
It looks to me like it's just trying to run out of the way, keep from being trampled upon.
Yeah, exactly right. Actually, now I'm looking at it, he would have done a good job being intermingled with the font because they're both black and white. That would have been quite good, but I obviously didn't do that. What a shame.
Done, Nick.
Anyway,
Hindsight.
that was a bit of fun for that. I'm hoping for some good suggestions for this week.
Okay.
Seems like most of those title suggestions had something to do with that F-15 inadvertent ejection.
We assume it was inadvertent. Some people just...
I don't know. I can't imagine somebody wanting to do that, but maybe. I don't know. There's crazy people out there in this world, for sure. All right.
Do you want to quickly mention the coffee fund?
Yeah, let's do a quick coffee fund announcement, just in case folks have money in their
Johnny,
pockets.
how much more coffee? No thanks.
They're burning a hole in their pocket, as they like to say. Yeah, the APG Coffee Fund. Oh, I'm supposed to be singing right now. Coffee and tea and the John and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh, yeah, the Coffee Fund. It's your way, dear listener, to contribute to our cause here at the APG. If you feel like you want to do that, you want to encourage us, give us some value for the value we give you. Okay, yeah, I know I'm stretching it a little bit. Probably not a lot of value that we give you, but hey, whatever. You know, we try to make it fun, and we love the fact that you're all out there, and we do this because we have fun, and we don't, we don't charge anything for it. We don't have any advertising, which I think is a good thing, because I don't know about you, but the podcasts that I listen to that have ads, I hate it. I know you can just fast forward through and not have to listen to the ads, but still. Like the fact that we're supported by our listeners. And if you want to support us in that way, it's the Coffee Fund. You can join the Coffee Bar Club. A couple different ways to do it. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method, which is most people use it for like one-off contributions every now and then. And we do have some recurring contributors using that as well. And then you can become a patron of the show via patreon.com if you'd like. So all that information about how you can join this wonderful group of people is over at our website, airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. Please consider it. You'll be glad you did, and we will too.
Woo. Okay, guys, let's tackle some feedback.
All right.
Captain, incoming message.
Okay, the first piece of feedback on our show today is from Kevin. He says, "Hello, crew. I was an avid listener of the show for a while. until I just couldn't take it anymore. So, no, wait. I was an avid listener of the show for a while until life got in the way a couple of years ago, and free time just wasn't the same anymore. I've recently been getting back into the show and just had the pleasure of finishing episode 672. That was just a couple of shows ago. I was chuckling the entire time that Captain Jeff was telling the story about the first time he flew the river visual onto runway 19 at DCA, because it reminded me so much of my first approach. I'm a CRJ 900 captain for a regional airline and fly into DCA very regularly. The first time I flew the river visual was at night with a relatively junior FO. I'd seen the approach flown dozens of times from the right seat, but this was my very first time flying it, as it is a captain-only approach at my airline. The winds were light. It was a clear night. Just like Captain Jeff, I got to the final turn at the correct altitude and thought that I had started the turn at the right time. And just like Captain Jeff, I also realized right away that I indeed had not done that and was going to overshoot the turn. I found myself applying the same flying techniques as Captain Jeff and increased the angle of bank a little bit more to line myself up with the runway again to a successful touchdown. Fortunately, that evening, nobody congratulated me on the show that I had put on, but the flight attendant did comment on it feeling a bit less smooth than usual. Mm-hmm. After a few times, you really learn to master the visual reference points and becomes a really fun approach to hand fly. Keep the blue side up, and thank you for the great listening you provide when I'm on the road. Cheers, Kevin. Great to hear from you, Kevin, and hear of your experience flying the river visual approach to runway 19 at DCA, and to hear that I'm not the only one that was caught off guard the first time that I flew that approach. So that's good stuff. Thank you. We hope that you keep listening. Hope life doesn't get in the way again, and we hope to hear more feedback from you in the future as well.
Absolutely. You know, our cabin crew used to play a few jokes on us whenever we had maneuvered the airplane a bit harder than usual. And the most common one was to come banging on the cockpit door, and then they'd walk in with their underwear around their knees.
Or the stockings. You remember in the days where they used to wear stockings?
Yeah.
Like the stockings all the way down around their ankles.
Like,
that was a
stockings,
kind of a hard landing there.
That's funny.
Way to go.
All right. Well, thank you for giving me that picture in my head. And now I can't even think straight. Okay, let's move on to the next item in our feedback from High Alpha. This is actually, I don't always get to see the comments that are made. So, we do the show primarily as an audio podcast. But we do use audio video as a platform to record the show. We use something called StreamYard, which sends the feed to YouTube. And on YouTube, there's the ability for people to make comments when they watch the video after the fact. So sometimes I don't get to see, or I don't take the time to go and look at the comments that are being made, possibly on the YouTube side of things. But I did see this from
and this
somebody.
This was the You're an Idiot show, right?
Yes. The title of the show, You're an Idiot, was from the video that we played when we recorded the show. There was an interaction on the radio between pilots and air traffic controllers at LaGuardia. And so that's what he is talking about here. Okay, so I did a horrible job of setting that up, but let's just work through it now and continue with his comment. 16 years in ATC, and I agree with Delta 999. That was the guy that said, you're an idiot. And so High Alpha continues, he was an idiot. It was unhelpful and unprofessional. If you don't know, just say it. Telling them stupid things, he's talking about the controller here, like eventually may sound cool, but it's just adding to your workload. Also, the company doesn't have the departure sequence. You do. Okay, he's talking about the controller again. The people in the airliners, they don't know what the departure sequence is, but you do as a controller. If it's more than you can count in a hurry, a guess is fine. The difference between 15 and 20 departures ahead is not making that much difference. Being obstinate and glib will bite you in the butt eventually as pilots start going back for fuel later in the sequence and closer to the runway. It becomes quite painful to get them out, if you ever can. Not forgetting, of course, that these aircraft are our customers, and if they have to go back for fuel, then that potentially starts to impact on duty times, flight cancellations, etc. Sure, not your direct problem, but one that can be better solved with sharing a little information rather than treating it like a line at the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, for those who don't know what DMV stands for. Okay, back to a high alpha. Not to mention, if they get a position, try that again. Not to mention, if they get to a position where they have to get onto the runway to go back to the gate, and you potentially could have given them data and prevented that. If I were working aerodrome control, the FAA calls it local control, I'd be annoyed at you for taking up my runway slots with taxiing aircraft that don't need to be there. Yeah. Very good point. And the reason why I wanted to mention this comment, I don't know if he was specifically, sending it to us or making the comment for us to, talk about as feedback on the show. But I think it's important to hear the perspective from the controllers when we talk about these things, because, we're all here, the host on the show, we're all pilots. And so we see it from our point of view and not from the point of view of the controlling agency or the controller. So this is a controller, 16 years, a lot of experience, and I think he made some very good points. What do you think, Captain Nick?
Oh, yeah. And I think that's probably reflected by most controllers around the world. We know that the guys in the New York area have a particularly difficult job. The tri-state setup of airfields makes their lives very complicated. And as a result, there are often very long queues, lots of very upset pilots trying to, wheedle it out. Lots of requests for where am I in the sequence, how long have I got? Because everyone's trying to balance the fuel they've put on board and their kind of contingency fuel, which they might be eating into if they've got an unexpectedly long taxi out, to see if they can safely get airborne, because we're talking departure taxi times. I'm only familiar with JFK, but it could be well over an hour at times. And if you were only expecting 20 minutes and your burn on an aircraft is considerable, even if you've shut some engines down, it's going to eat into your reserves, which nowadays are I've been cut to the bone, because, that's the way airlines need to make money, by ensuring we don't fly around with the dead weight of unused fuel on board. So, yeah, we need information to be able to make judgment calls, and to have it thrown back at us by a guy who's probably rightly a bit annoyed that everybody's asking him, and he's said it how many times. It just isn't helpful. If you can't be professional in your job, then find something else to do. Go be a dustman or a refuse clearance man, and then you can shout at everyone, and everyone expects it.
A waste manager? Is that what you're saying?
No,
I have to correct something you said. You said something like, if you don't have enough fuel, that not enough fuel to make a safe takeoff. Well, I think you can make a safe takeoff. It's just that the en route and landing part of the trip might be unsafe.
That's probably true. Yes, indeed. Yeah, thank you for that.
I haul boxes, making a comment referencing high alpha. Why do they not have any such savvy controllers in the New York area? This one seems to get it. I think
it's the way they were all bought up, I haul boxes. They're all bought up in the Bronx, and they're all, driving around shouting at everyone, or crossing the road shouting at everyone. I love New York for that. Actually, because, it's a very refreshing place. You can get halfway across the road and someone will beep at you. You can just stop and swear at him. It's great fun. Not something I'd do in London.
You asked for directions in New York, and you said, "Can you tell me where so and so is, or how to get there, or should I just go and f myself?" Anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the Tim Van Ram feedback that we've been waiting for.
Oh, can't wait. Okay, here we go. We have some feedback from a persistent, or not persistent, someone who's always there. Habitual. Yeah, okay. Someone who is a big fan of our show, and we're a big fan of his as well. Tim Van Ram sent us an update on what's happening with him. He says, "Greetings, Captain, Jeff, and crew. I've been holding back on letting my secret pleasure out to the world." Liz, shall we skip this one, or it's okay?
No, it's okay.
I don't have to put an
G-rated.
explicit tag on the podcast? It's G-rated. Okay. All right. So I'll continue. Now, he says, "Now I think I'll expose myself." Oh, no. There wasn't a photo in here, was there?
No photos.
Oh, thank goodness. All right. I have mutated from an aviation enthusiast, avgeek, to a student pilot. What? Hey.
Whoa. Wow.
Wow. Now
you
the
are
skies
now
are
the
definitely,
lowest of the low.
The skies are definitely unsafe for sure.
Look out in the Bay Area.
Yeah. If you're in the Bay Area, just warning you, especially up there in Sonoma County. He says, "I've wanted to fly since about the age of 12, and now at the young age of 70, I've begun to fly." Well, it's going to go off on its own.
Oh, okay.
I've been training for a little over 2 months and flying 2 to 3 times a week at Kilo Sierra Tango Sierra, KSTS. Yep, that's Sonoma County Airport in Santa Rosa, California. Charles Schultz Airport, named after the creator of the Peanuts comic strip. You could say I'm flying with Snoopy now. Yeah, I'm wondering, does the airplane look like a doghouse? Like you're sitting on the roof of the doghouse?
And does he shake his fist at you going, "Curse you, Tim"?
Yeah, I bet he does, actually.
Well, we do that all the time.
Just to let you know, he says, okay, he continues, "Just to let you all know how much I've lost my mind." Well, we already know he's lost because he's listening to our show. He's a fan of our show. I also joined in partnership in owning Betsy, a 1967 Piper Cherokee. Oh, that's cool. The hangar row I now practically live in, as appropriately called Skid Row. Okay. Yeah.
Very good.
All right. We're not going to go into why it's called Skid Row, but I'm hoping it'll be able to continue with. No, I'm hoping I'll be able to continue with being a patron as far back as APG episodes in the 80s. Wow. Like the number 80 episodes?
Yeah.
That's a long time ago. As I'm quickly depleting my cash reserves. Yeah, we completely understand. In fact, we always make the admonition or caveat for those who want to participate in the coffee bar club that they consider other things like food, shelter, clothing, and flying lessons. So yeah, I think that you're off the hook now, Tim. You can stop sending money in and spend it more wisely on your flight training. And we know, knowing you, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of extra training for you. So it's going to cost a lot more. No, I'm just kidding. He says, "When I passed my medical, the doc asked me where I wanted to go with my flying career. Of course, I told him I will become a fighter pilot." He says, "I've learned a lot of the basic maneuvers and am struggling with landing in any way that might be thought of as comfortable. Bit by bit, I see minuscule improvement. Now no longer sitting by the sidelines as I hold a student pilot certificate. How about them apples? Warm regards, Tim Van Ram." And again, we're going to play the applause.
Yeah, brilliant.
For Tim. That's awesome. Wow, who knew that people even
at
your
the
age
young age of 70? That's remarkable.
Can learn how to fly. That's pretty remarkable, I'd say. Great to hear it.
We want regular updates from him.
Yes, we do want regular updates from you, Tim.
I want to see a picture of Skid Row.
And his plane.
Do you, though?
Oh, and your plane, I suppose, yeah, if we have to.
Yeah.
By the way, Betsy, is that also a biscuit bomber?
No, I don't think it's the biscuit bomber version of Betsy. It's a different Betsy.
He's getting congratulations in the chat room.
Oh, yeah. Tim's getting a lot of congratulations from the fellow live audience members, live chatters there. That's really awesome. Thank you for sharing your news with us. And really, we do expect to hear updates from you on how it's going. Okay. Let's continue with this from Andy. The title of his feedback, Volume in the Flight Deck. Does he mean like how large the pilots are? I don't know.
Big shoulders? No.
Big shoulder, yeah. Hi, crew. How much from the back? Oh, he's talking about audio volume. How much from the back can you hear in the flight deck? I'm thinking about toilets flushing, cabin crew working, cabin announcements, etc. I'm setting volume levels on the sim, but I have no idea what is realistic. Thank you, Andy. Okay. So he's talking about simulator, trying to make it as authentic as possible. I guess one of the options in the simulator programs is to hear the audio from the other side of the cockpit door. I think it really depends on the airplane, but in my experience, you don't really hear a lot of that going on up in the cockpit because there's a lot of noise up in the cockpit. You have all the avionics and the avionics cooling fans and the air conditioning flow. So there is a lot of that up there that kind of obscures or covers up the noise that's happening on the other side of the cockpit door. As far as cabin announcements, the only time I really hear the cabin announcements is because I'm on my interphone panel. I push the button that allows me to monitor what's being broadcast on the PA, the public address system. But I don't recall ever hearing any announcements through the cockpit door. And again, you realize also that we're wearing headsets or earbuds or something that kind of masks a lot of the noise that you might hear on the from the other side of the door. But as iHaul Boxes mentions here in our live audience, that we can hear the clapping. Yeah. So if and that is actually true. If you sometimes if you say something very clever on the PA or somebody else is saying something clever on the PA and people are laughing and clapping, depending on how many people are clapping, you might actually be able to hear that kind of thing, applause in the back.
That's interesting from iHaul Boxes because he flies
boxes.
Yeah,
wait a minute. iHaul Boxes flies boxes. Yeah, what's going on in those boxes, iHaul Boxes? You have are there people in? Why are they clapping? Yeah, that's kind of weird.
How are they clapping?
They want to get out.
How are they clapping? Oh, wait a minute. He says hearsay. That's what he's heard, I guess. But
what about Captain Nick's experience?
Yeah, Captain Nick. What have you experienced?
My airliners were so long that you couldn't hear what was going on, except, and of course there was a galley between us and the first row of upper class seats, and upper class passengers don't make a lot of noise. They might groan and moan a little bit, but that doesn't get through the door. Yeah. So we used to hear a lot that went on in the front galley.
Okay.
Because in particular, not so much from when we were sitting in the seats, but when we were in crew rest, because that was even closer to this front galley. So you'd be trying to sleep and you'd be hearing all the rumors and lots of clattering of dishes and things as trolleys were being bashed around and smacked into the wall and, waking you up. And when the door used to be open, we used to fly around with the door open all the time. And we'd hear a lot more then, of course, but not anymore nowadays. It's always locked and bolted and so no, it's pretty damn quiet. Quite honestly, in the
so that adjustment knob for the noises in the cabin, I would turn it down almost to off because you really don't hear much from our seats in the cockpit.
No.
I haul boxes again. I'm only hearing moaning from the crew rest every now and every so often.
Well, that's a worry.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what you mean there, but I'm not sure I really want to know exactly what you mean. Okay.
Okay, we got some audio feedback now, I think.
We do have some audio feedback. I'm trying to select it here. Okay. This is from Kevin. He sent us some feedback, audio feedback regarding dial-a-flap. He says, "Hi, APG crew. I have a few questions about a system on Captain Jeff's beloved MD-80. This is my first audio feedback, so sorry if it isn't great quality." This is Kevin from Eastern Ontario, up there in Canada. All right.
You can understand his accent.
I don't know if we'll be able to understand. Well, we have a translator here, just in case.
Yeah, I'll try.
All right. Let's see what we hear. I have not listened to this yet, so I probably should have done some research on this, but let's see what happens here. Let's give it a go.
Hello, APG crew. This is Kevin from Eastern Ontario in Canada. I've got a quick question, probably primarily for Captain Jeff. It's about the dial-a-flap on the MD-80 series aircraft. Why was this implemented instead of a typical flap configuration like an Airbus, a Boeing, or an Embraer, or such else? It just seems so different than the others. What's the purpose of the dial-a-flap? And did the dial-a-flap also get implemented on the MD-90 and the 717 aircraft that you flew? Would love to know. Huge fan. Been listening since 2020. I've worked my way from episode 1. Now I'm up to 226 while still staying current with the current episodes. So thanks for what you do. Really appreciate it. And thanks again. Bye now.
Kevin has the syndrome.
It does have the syndrome for sure. So honestly, this is kind of catching me off guard. The dial-a-flap. It's a weird system that's on the control panel, the center control panel next to the actual flap selection lever. So I'm hoping I'm going to read this. I just did a quick search to kind of remind myself exactly how this whole thing works, because I've been retired now for a little over a year and a half, and I have to say that most of the knowledge I have about this kind of stuff has been replaced with other useless information. And so I'm going to start reading, and I'm hoping this is going to jog my memory as I read this from aviationstackexchange.com. Flaps in the DC-9 80 series, the Mad Dogs, and yes, the MD-90 had it as well. Flaps may be positioned in any of the 6 permanent detents on that flap handle. You know, they have these mechanical detents where you actually move the flap handle and then it hits a detent. And then if you want to move it past that detent, you kind of lift it up and then start bringing it a little bit further back for another flap position. That's just me talking there. Flaps may be positioned in any of the 6 permanent detents in a 0 to 40 degree range by movement of the flap slat handle. The authorized flap settings for takeoff and the MD-83, okay, there's several different models in the MD-80 series. The one that I flew was the MD-88. But this one's referring to the MD-83, or 4, 6, 11, 15, 17, 20, and 24. It doesn't, some of those sound familiar, but I think we actually could go all the way to flaps 40 on the 88, at least in the configuration that we were flying at Delta. A flap takeoff selector wheel on the center pedestal would allow the pilot to further position the flaps from the position selected by the flap slat handle position anywhere in the 0 to 13 and 15 to 24 degree range. Again, this is specifically referring to the MD-83. This was used to set the final takeoff flap setting as determined by the runway analysis review for the airport and runway. And so basically the dial-a-flap system, it was created so that if you wanted to do more of a custom flap setting based on performance data, you were allowed to do that. So it would kind of, you'd set it to a certain detent. Let's say the flaps 11 detent, and let's say that your data that you're referring is referring to like flaps 13. Well, there's no detent for flaps 13. There's one for 11 and for 15. So if you set it to 11, then you could take this little scroll knob or scroll wheel, basically, and move the dial-a-flap or flap takeoff setting selector to 13. And so I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but it just allowed greater flexibility for selecting specific flap settings that were not covered by the standard flap slat detent positions for the flap handle. And
so Jeff,
yeah.
Does the handle stay in the detente, but then you're moving it, like you're just you're adjusting the setting, but the handle stays in the same place? Is that what happens?
So the handle, you move the handle to the detent, and it stays right there physically in that position. And then when you actually use the little vertical wheel to move it to, let's say, in the example I used, I'm in flaps 11 detent, and then I want 13, then I can just scroll down a little bit more to the 13 position, and that actually moves the flaps to 13. And so you make sure that that's what's happening by looking at your flap selection gauge, or the flap indicator, I think is what they call that.
So it's the little wheel that is
it's just a little wheel there right next to the.
So that's the dial-a-flap.
That's the dial-a-flap. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And I will include, hopefully I'll remember to do this, a picture in this little article that I'm referring to which I'm referring in the center pedestal. And it'll make a little bit more sense when you look at the picture that I'm looking at right here. And it did help me kind of, shake the cobwebs from my brain. And then I went, oh yeah, I remember that thing, the dial-up. It's good. It has a stupid name.
So it would have been a pretty rare occurrence, Jeff, to have to use an intermediate setting like that. So you probably only did it once in a blue moon, didn't you?
Correct. Yeah, we hardly ever used that. Now, I'd say the last few years of flying, we started to see the possibility of using a custom configuration like that a little bit more, because I think the engineers started really trying to tweak the performance data to get the optimal settings and save that extra gallon of fuel or whatever. Probably not even that much, but yeah, normally, and you had to be careful with doing something that's a little bit out of the normal sequence of things that you do. And so, as I said, you just have to be careful, because anytime you do something that's out of the normal procedure, it introduces some risk. And so you have to be very careful. You have to thoroughly brief what you're doing. And then when you're sometimes with this dial-a-flap setting, and when the flaps are actually in a different position, and when you're trying to clean up the airplane, when you're retracting the flaps and stuff like that, sometimes you could, end up in a situation where it doesn't feel quite right. It feels different, and it introduces some. I don't want to say risk, because I guess anytime you get in an airplane, there's so that's what safety is, right? Risk versus benefit. In this case, they thought that the risk that you're increasing by just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit was worth the benefit of saving fuel and being more efficient. So I usually tried to use standard flap takeoff flap settings so that it was just like something everybody was used to all the time, even if it meant maybe not quite being quite as efficient as you can be. But as I said, and as you surmise, Captain Nick, that it's not something that happened very often. Most of the time was just the standard settings that you're used to.
Which adds its own risk, because you're doing a procedure, changing a procedure just once in a little, in a while, and everyone's a bit unfamiliar. So you're going to have to check the books and, make sure you do it properly and brief it, etc. Adds all its own additional complications, doesn't it?
Yep. Oh, I Haul Boxes has something, a comment he's making that could possibly be a show title. 1-800-DIAL-A-FLAP. Again, if you'd like to leave a comment, please, 1-800-DIAL-A-FLAP. Yeah.
He also asked what angle did you dial your gear to?
Well, we didn't have in the airplanes that I flew, it didn't have the dial-a-gear system. But, yeah, to save some extra fuel by only using partial gear. Yeah.
We used to have a dial-a-seat back to recline our seats,
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you could put them nearly flat, which.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So
makes you wonder why that would be even possible up in the.
And then you could put your feet up on the stirrups and almost be like you're in bed.
All right.
I'm going to make a comment about lady pilots, but I won't.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well, we used to make those comments all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
How many cents, darling?
Moving right along.
All right, moving along. Again, getting precariously close to having to slap an explicit label on our podcast.
You might have to do some editing.
Yeah. This feedback from Richard Nash. He says, "Hello there. Just a quick one to keep your accuracy above 50%. Oh no. Looks like we missed the mark.
Yeah.
In the last episode, you referred to the UPS engine pod strike as a Boeing 7. Oh, shoot. When I was saying it, I'm thinking, I hope that nobody is going to critique me on this, but somebody did.
There's some pedantic Boeing person out there who's going to write in.
Yeah, I refer to it as a 7.
We love you, Richard.
Yeah.
We love you.
I refer to it as a 747-800, but there is no such thing. It's a 747-8. Boeing got rid of the 100 variants a while ago. Hey, look, Rich, I'm still living in the past, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was to bring the naming convention in line with the 787, which comes in 787-8, -9, and -10 variants. Every time I see someone refer to a 787-8 as a 787-800, I just die inside a little and have to correct them.
No.
Oh, no. Hey, look.
Well, let's keep saying it and see how many it takes him to peg it.
Well, you know what? I kind of understand that because if for those of you who have listened to the show for a while, you haven't heard me bring this subject up because I've pretty much, I was the same way with another term or word that you are, Richard, with the -8, -800 kind of thing. And I finally worked through it. I got over it, and I am now, I think, cured, and it doesn't even affect me that much. At least that's what I'm saying. I just let it ride. It's the old
potable.
Yeah. Potable is not potable. It's not. See, now you're getting me going again. It's not. It's not potable.
He's getting persnickety again.
No, people, listen to me. Listen to me. I know you think, like most of the people that I flew with, when I said it's actually pronounced potable, that they thought I was joking, that they thought I was making it, that I was just making a joke. And I'm no, it really is not pronounced potable. It's potable. If it was potable, it would be 2 T's, but it's potable. There's only 1 T there, just like potato. It's not potato.
Well, hang on a minute. When you put a pot on the stove, there's only 1 T?
Yes.
Pot on the stove, 1 T.
Okay, please, I beg you. Can we move on? Please.
Well, I mean, it's Richard's fault, Liz. Richard brought this up.
He's turned on Jeff's persnickety button.
Yeah, you did. I thought it was cured of this, but apparently it was just lurking below the surface.
It's still there.
And it's still there. It's still there. But what I'm trying to say is I understand how this kind of gets to you when somebody does that. And what I want to say is I am sorry. I'm so sorry that I referred to it as a 747-800. I promise I'll do better. Okay. I agree that I did that wrong, and it's -8. All right.
Mea culpa.
Yeah, mea culpa. The 747 this is back to Rich. The 747, oh, I'm sorry, Richard. So he doesn't call himself Rich in this feedback, and I did. And so he's probably going to get upset with me because of that too. Sorry. Richard said the 747-8I was named as such to show it shares many features of the new generation aircraft, like advanced engines, updated aerodynamics, etc. And if anyone calls the new 777s, by the way, Richard, there's no apostrophe in that. The new the 777
good point.
Apostrophe
oh,
S,
well made. Yeah,
that is not.
Take
it's
that.
It's plural. It's not possessive. It's plural. So 777S. Don't put the apostrophe there, man. That's another thing that really gets me. Just ask Liz. Okay. So if anyone calls the new 777s with 100 at the end, I will be on their case right away. Thank you and goodbye.
Oh, but am I correct in assuming we can call the new 777 the 777-10? It's got an X after it, and X in Roman numerals is 10.
You know what?
So from now on, for me, it's going to be a 777-10.
So that reminds me of when Apple came out with the System 10. They call it System X. And so people were like, well, what do we call it? Do we call it System 10 or do we call it System X? And I don't know if they ever resolved that.
Well, no.
As iHall Boxes says.
iHall Boxes says, I'm waiting for your angry letters. Yeah,
and I'd like to point out that the 787-8I, I is 1 in Roman numerals, so that should be 747-81.
81.
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy. Wow, talking about a can of worms you've opened here, Richard.
Big can of worms.
But I'm happy that you did, because I think that it provided some entertainment here, and I hope that you understand that a lot of that was tongue-in-cheek. Not all of it, but a lot of it was.
None of that was tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. So I tell you what, I'll mind my dash whatever numbers after, if you'll mind your apostrophes, and then we'll talk again.
Boys,
all right.
You've got 10 minutes till the
10 minutes to go.
Oh, you need to get a whole bunch done. Come on.
You know, I really wish I had some potable water here for me to sip, because I'm getting a little thirsty.
Oh, I've got some beer. Do you want me to send you some?
No, thank you. See, he didn't even notice I mispronounced potable.
Yeah, I did.
No, I know you did, but he didn't.
Come on, number 8, please.
All right. Let's continue with this feedback from Ernest. Weather diversions. Oh, this is MetroDoc. Cool.
Yeah, who isn't in the chat today?
Oh, he's not in the chat today. He usually is here with us. Maybe because we're doing it a little bit earlier than normal today. Trust me, a lot earlier than I thought we were doing it.
No kidding.
Here's some inside baseball. I got a little text from Liz about 10 minutes before we were supposed to all, be there online, for our half hour before we start the show kind of thing. And she goes, Jeff, are you going to join Captain Nick and I today? And I went, huh? Yeah.
No, I could have been nastier and say,
you
where the hell are you, you idiot?
Yeah, you could. Well, there you go. That's what she was actually thinking, what she just said. Yeah. All right. Let's continue with this from MetroDoc. Hello, APG crew and family. Are we not part of the family? Huh. Hope everyone is well. These questions will probably be for Jeff and or Nick. Perfect. With summer comes the dreaded weather diversions due to, quote, pop-up storms. Every now and then, we will get Atlanta diversions in Nashville, BNA, or as Jeff says, Bananaville. I know, that's just one of those little cute things we pilots do when we see Bravo November Alpha, the identifier for Nashville International. BNA, because it looks like banana, so we call it Bananaville. Anyway, I have 2 questions. First, who determines which airport a flight diverts to? The captain or the company dispatcher? Second, if a passenger is on a diverted flight and their final destination turns out to be at the diverted city, will the passenger be allowed to disembark? Keep up the great podcast and safe travels to all. And again, this is Ernest, also known as MetroDoc. great questions, MetroDoc. Really, for sure. Okay, the first question, who determines which airport a flight diverts to? The captain or the dispatcher? Okay, so when we are given our pre-flight paperwork, including the flight plan.
Acme, right?
This is at Acme. Yeah, I'm only speaking for Acme Airlines, the airline for which I used to fly. And I'm sure it applies to other major airlines as well. But we get this paperwork, and if the weather is such that we have to legally declare a diversion, or not a diversion, a destination alternate, then those are listed there. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's where you will actually divert to. But it's for, again, legalities and making sure that you have the proper fuel load and, requirements. But what actually happens in real life is that when you're in a situation where you have to divert, you may or may not go to that destination alternate airport. And it depends on several different things. Number one, and this is based on my own anecdotal experience. Number one, the reason why you might be diverting from one airport to another airport and it usually has something to do with weather. And if the weather, which is especially when you're talking about thunderstorm type weather, it's really hard to, forecast exactly where these supercells are going to be located when you're actually there and then you're in a diversion situation. Sometimes the diversion I keep calling it diversion. The destination alternate airport is like between your primary destination and the weather. And so in that case, you go, we're not going to that airport. Now, hopefully you've thought about this a little bit as you're approaching your primary destination airport and going, you know what, that destination alternate that we have all the data for and fuel load and all that kind of stuff, that's not realistic. We're not going to be able to do that. So you might start thinking, at least to yourself or with your other crew members, about, okay, let's see, what if we have to do, and this is the smart thing to do, obviously, start thinking about all the things that could possibly happen here. It might be a better idea that we choose this airport over here on this side of the weather, so we don't have to go through horrible weather to get to our destination alternate. So that's one thing that you have to consider. If you have enough time during the actual diversion process to use the ACAR system to basically digitally communicate with your dispatcher, and sometimes I just like to get like a phone patch and actually talk with them directly on the radio to discuss where they really want us to go. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that if you're diverting from your primary destination airport, you're probably not the only one. Not the only one for all of the airlines, but probably not the only one for your particular airline, depending on where you're going and whether you have a base there or whatever. So you have a lot of airplanes out there that are needing to divert. And so the discussion that you have, if you have the time to do it, is to say, hey, is this really, where do you want us to go? If you had your druthers, you want us here, 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 and as long as we can get there and, not blocked by severe weather, we can do that. And usually what they consider is how many other flights are diverting to that place, how that alternate airport can handle, if they can handle all the flights that are heading that way. And a lot of times they'll say, well, I know that the closest would be this, but we already have several flights that have indicated that that's where they're heading, and they're overloaded now. They can't accept you. Or if you do go there, it's going to be a long, hard kind of experience there because of the fact that they just don't have the personnel or the equipment or gates available, that kind of thing. So that's usually a consideration there for the dispatcher. I have also been in situations where you weren't really planning on diverting and you didn't have any destination alternate to begin with, and something happens, like somebody crumps the runway and you have to make a quick decision. And in that case, a lot of the times you don't have time to talk with your dispatcher and get what their take might be. And I might say something like to my first officer, just, tell our dispatcher that this is where we're going. So basically, as in most things, even though the airlines that use dispatchers, we have a shared responsibility for the safety of the operation of the flight. A lot of times, since the captain is in the actual airplane moving through the sky at 500 miles an hour and having to experience all this crappy weather or whatever you're experiencing, the buck stops with the captain because they have the most information available to them and they have the most skin in the game. And so that's usually where the decision is made, the final decision. But as a captain, I always deferred as much as I could to the company dispatcher to, make things work as efficiently as possible. I hope I probably said a lot more than I needed to there, but I just wanted to make sure that I was clear about, who makes the decision and in most cases, it's a joint decision and it's an agreed upon airport to go to, et cetera. But sometimes you just have to make the decision to say, nope, this is where I'm going. And you know what? I've even diverted to airports where I didn't even have a chance. I didn't even have time to let the dispatcher know until I got on the ground. Oh, hey, just want to let you know, we're not where you thought we were. And, if they're a good dispatcher, they have tools that they can see graphically where your flight is. I mean, heck, nowadays, anybody with a cell phone can, pull up FlightAware or Flight Radar 24 and get as much information as the dispatchers have as far as where we are and where, yeah. That's
before you go to Captain Nick, IHAL Boxes has a comment here too.
Oh, IHAL Boxes in our audience here. Also, destination alternates might get congested and closed to additional non-scheduled traffic. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Yeah, he agrees. Okay, Captain Nick. Now, I know your situation is a bit different because my experience deals mostly with short to medium range or segments. And operating in a theater with a lot more options as far as where I can go. And the airplanes that I operated were the type of airplanes that, I had many, many more choices for going to an airport if I have to divert from my primary destination. You, on the other hand, flying long haul, bigger airplane, perhaps fuel reserves more limited. What's your take on this?
Yeah, well, you covered just about everything I would have said, Jeff, which was brilliant. Sorry. That was a great little dissertation. No, that's fine. Absolutely fine. We generally went with 2 diversions, fuel for the furthest. So if it was a clear blue day, lovely clear skies, no worries, both those airfields would be close and to your destination so that you didn't carry unnecessary fuel. So the only time we would divert them was if the airfield became blocked, closed down or whatever. And then you just pop next door to a nearby airfield. But we could always override that decision, even if the weather was forecast to be okay for our arrival time. For example, I was forecast to land at, where was it? It was Shanghai, I think, in China. Yeah, and it was, I think, Shanglo, indeed. I was going to sing the song there for a second. Yeah, no, it was good. I was just recalling the first line of the song, thinking, no, I can't sing that.
No.
It was fine for our arrival time, but within a couple of hours, the typhoon was pitching up. So I was looking at it going, typhoons are notoriously unpredictable. There's no way they can really, for a 12-hour flight, say that it's definitely not going to have arrived when we arrived because, they can speed up quite easily. So I said, no, I don't want Pudong, which is just down the road, as my diversion. I want Beijing, which is halfway across China, and gives me a huge extra fuel allowance. And we had a little to-fro, but I said, no, I'm going to put my foot down here and say, sorry, I'm not going unless you give me Beijing fuel. So can you redo the flight plan? Which they did. As it turned out, the Typhoon did exactly what I worried about, and it pitched up early. In the end, we made it into Shanghai, a story I alluded to just the other show. And we got in, and we're getting all right. We didn't damage it, but it was all a bit tricksy. While we were doing that, my fuel went from, yes, I can get to Beijing, to no, I can't get to Beijing anymore because I had to do a second approach. That's how tight it was on fuel. So I nominated to my crew in the air, if we can't get enough the second approach, we're now going to go to Nanjing, which has a runway that is right in the correct direction for the prevailing strong winds we're getting, but considerably closer. So we should arrive there with heaps of spare gas and be all nice and safe. But we didn't tell anybody. I might have asked them to ACARS the company and let them know, but we didn't need to in the end go anywhere. So yeah, the company, and you can negotiate with the company for diversions, and it gives you often a little bit of a buffer for extra fuel if you're a bit worried about a situation. And knowing that there are airfields between you and your distant diversion means that at any time you need a bit of extra fuel, you can say, well, we won't go all the way up to Edinburgh. We'll nominate Manchester because Manchester's okay at the moment. By the time we get there, Manchester's okay, and that gives us an extra 2 tons of fuel, which I can now use in the holding pattern while I'm waiting for my turn to make an approach. So I can actually try an approach before I end up not even being able to do that and diverting. So we used to use diversions tactically as captains as well as just safety-wise. But yes, we always had diversions, and you're quite right. The final word was always the captain, and if he didn't like the situation, he would say, no, I want a diversion that's going to give me this. And generally speaking, that was a very sensible decision. Or you could just slap 10 tons of fuel on, which was much less accurate. If you nominated an actual airfield, then the flight plan generating software would give you a nice accurate fuel to get there, and you wouldn't, waste fuel that you would do just by slapping an arbitrary figure on top of your normal landing fuel.
But Murphy's Law, when you talk about the fact that, originally Edinburgh was the destination alternate, and then you say, yeah, but Manchester is going to work and we don't have to use as much fuel. That gives us an extra couple tons of fuel, and we can hang around here and hold for a while, and then wouldn't you know it, then all of a sudden, no, we can't get in to Heathrow or whatever, and now Manchester has gone kaplunk, and now you're in a situation. You have to be careful to be led down that primrose path, right?
Exactly right. And airfields do, like you say, fill up. And quite honestly, sometimes you have to think out of the box. And instead of looking for a UK diversion, you go to somewhere like Schiphol, which is actually in a different damn country, but it's just over the channel. The channel's only about 30 miles wide. It's a hop, skip, and a jump to get to Holland. So and people just wouldn't actually ever imagine that you're diverting to another country. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, it's just over there.
Well, so that kind of it kind of touches upon MetroDoc's second question, which is, if a passenger is on a diverted flight and their final destination turns out to be the diverted city, will the passenger be allowed to disembark? Well, in the case of international flights, I don't think that that's a possibility at all. Correct me if I'm wrong, Captain.
No, you're quite right. We'd slap them in irons if they try to get off the airplane.
I was just going to say, if law enforcement was involved, maybe.
Yeah. So
there are a couple of things here. First of all, the airfield you land at may not have the customs facilities to allow you off. because if you're on an international flight, you've got to pass through customs, and if it's a small airfield you've diverted to, they may not have that, in which case you definitely can't get off. The other thing is that you're looking often for a quick splash and dash. You're looking to get the airplane on the ground, grab enough fuel to go back into the holding pattern or whatever you need at your original destination and get your turn to go in. When someone gets off, you have to take their bags off as well. That's a legal requirement. You can't leave their bags on the airplane. And finding one person's bag out of 350 passengers is often a nightmare.
No bueno there.
Yeah, exactly right. So you would say no. Plus, we're contractually obliged to take the passenger to where their ticket says. That's our contract. And it's not just a single one-way contract. The passenger can't just break that contract willy-nilly and say, oh, no, I'm getting off here. No, we've made a contract. We're going to get you to your destination. You're going to stay on the airplane until you get there. That's our contract, okay?
Right.
And it'll say it in the small print. You can't just decide to get off the airplane halfway through a flight. Oh, you can actually. We'll open the door and let you off. But
if you can open the door.
If we're
got to depressurize it first.
If we're at 50,000 or
so
30,000 feet, bad luck. Broke his contract apart from everything else.
I think in my experience, flying almost all domestic kind of flight segments, much, much more flexibility when it comes to that kind of thing. I personally experienced a flight when I was a relatively new captain on the 727, flying from Atlanta to Buffalo, New York, and the winds were crazy, crazy, crazy high winds, variable velocities, variable headings, and oh man, it was so bumpy. We were down low, being vectored around in this very, I guess it would be like what do they call those? The weather phenomenon, like a nor'easter or that kind of weather up there. I know it wasn't right on the East Coast. Buffalo is more inland a bit.
Down Lake Erie there.
But it was had something to do with the Canadian, those Canadians flowing, sending us that crappy weather that they do. Those cold fronts, yeah. And anyway, it was bumpy. It was almost so bumpy that even I was starting to feel a little queasy. That's how bad it was. And we kept attempting an approach to land at the airport, and they kept calling out the wind direction and wind velocity. And we had the flight engineer had his reference, his chart out, constantly calculating what that max crosswind was. And we, basically every time we came in, like at some point in the final approach, okay, we're good. And then they sent out another observation that would be like 1 or 2 knots past the, and at Delta, we were, the demonstrated crosswind was a limit for us. It wasn't just a suggestion. It wasn't guidance. That is a limit. And so we'd get really close, and then all of a sudden we're out of limits, and then we'd have to go around. We did that a couple of times. Looking at the fuel, I'm going, okay, it's time. Now we need to go over to another airport. We went over to Syracuse, and that was the closest airport that winds were still reasonably, within limits. Landed there and got the notification that there were several passengers that didn't, and I don't even think there were passengers that lived in Syracuse. I think their destination, they wanted to be in Buffalo, but they said, okay, I'm out. I don't want to be on this flight, after we get fuel and go from here. And I don't blame them, actually. If I were a passenger, I don't know if I'd want to continue on the flight. I'll just rent a car and get there or whatever. But so we let, I don't know, a handful of passengers off of the flight, which meant we had to get new data anyway because it was a new flight segment and et cetera.
Did you have to do a load sheet?
Yeah, our company did. It was all done for us. The whatever department, the load planning department and all that kind of thing were in effect. And so,
the joy of working for a big airline.
Yes, it was always nice that we had people that would do things for us. And it was very quiet. I was very, very spoiled with that. But still, I was on the phone with, I ended up figuring out how to get the actual tower telephone number in Buffalo, New York. And I talked to the controller that was actually in the tower cab. And I said, okay, I'm the Delta flight that diverted over to Syracuse. I said, so what do you think? What's going on? Are people getting in? And he said about half the people coming in are landing and half are diverting.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
And I went, okay. And so what's your, what is it now? And he told me what the winds were. And so is there still a chance that we can? And so finally, after a long discussion with the tower controller or whoever was in the tower cab that I was conversing with, we decided, let's go ahead and give it another shot. And again, bumpy as all get out, but we ended up landing, within a time frame or whatever. The winds were below or under the limits at the time. Now, I was so tempted, though, I have to tell you, just to disregard what my flight engineer was saying. Hey, we're out of limits, sir, whatever, and just landing. But I know that if I had done that, and that's on the tape and everything else, and in the interviews after the incident of me dinging a wingtip on the runway at Buffalo, I knew that I would get in a lot of trouble. And I'm thinking, nope, I got to play it safe here. I have to, abide by the rules. And the rules say, nope, I cannot land at this moment. So
you were a good boy, Jeff.
That's my experience with people getting off. And it's not the first time or the last time that I've had passengers get off the airplane. Usually, though, it's when they are boarding the airplane and they kind of look to the left and look through the cockpit door and they see me and they go, okay, no, I'm out. I'm out of here. So it's usually before the flight actually starts that they get off. Just kidding.
Well, speaking about getting off, we're over time now, boys. So
okay. Well, okay.
There's
we
lots
knocked out
of feedback left.
Yeah, we do have a lot of feedback left, but Liz is very happy about that.
I'm happy.
We are always happy to receive your feedback, and you can do that by sending it to Jeff. No. Feedback at airlinepilotguy.com. Don't send it to Jeff at airlinepilotguy.com unless it's something personal, and then I have to
don't do that.
Send it to somebody else. No, feedback at airlinepilotguy.com if you'd like to send us some. Our website is airlinepilotguy.com, and there you'll find all kinds of good stuff. And let's see, we're also on social media.
Indeed, we are. And if you're a Facebook devotee, then look for Airline Pilot Guy, all one word. If you like a bit of X in your life, perhaps it's an ex-girlfriend, you never know. At APG Crew is the handle you're looking for. On the Instas, where we have a kind of page, but I stick the artwork on my personal one, feel free to join me. We're Instagram.com/APG Crew. YouTube, which is this sausage being made. YouTube.com/Airline Pilot Guy.
What do you think of that sausage there, huh? All right, and we're also on Slack. We have the Slack master himself in a... Hello! Can you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
That's okay. We understand. That's part of the deal. Okay, he's going to come over here and tell us about it.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and plain tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo at airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel.
Can you get me a roll of toilet paper?
Yeah, I'll be right with you. All right.
You'll probably need two, knowing him.
Yeah, that's probably true. Oh, boy.
Oh,
guess he's already... I'll be right there. Okay. And we'd also like to thank our producer, Liz.
Hey,
Thanks,
well done,
very,
Liz. Good
very
job.
helpful. before the show.
So
after
glad
the
you
show,
found
and,
that feedback.
Yeah, during the show as well. She's like telling us all kinds of things. Most
Too
of
much
it good.
today, sorry.
Yeah. And so thank you very much for that, Liz. And also
pleasure.
a big thank you to our live audience, our live chatters there.
Yeah, very good today. Good job.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been very, very helpful and entertaining as well. And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and just wish you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
Bye, everybody.
See you next time.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy.
Good day.
I used to be such a good pilot till I started APG. I opened doors for little old ladies. I helped them to their seats. Airline pilot guy, I fly America. Oh, airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fog. I got no friends 'cause I'm always flying. I just don't have the time. But I can land this old plane. I can land it just fine. Airline pilot guy,